Well, it is another wonderful talk on Tuesday. My goodness, I cannot believe we are a day away from Love Day. That's right. I got some love and someone shared love with me. So I'm going to share some love with you, of course. And I'm wearing red because of love. Black History. It's Black History Month. And of course, the celebration of the young men who won a thing called a Super Bowl. So we'll be talking commercials and also some of the big things that happen with the Kansas City Chiefs. Congratulations to them. But guys, if you're in the chat, go ahead and give me a shout. Let me see who you are. Let me know what's up. What's up? Good evening. Good evening. Oh, and I see our guest from last week, Queen April, is saying good evening. Good evening, everyone. Thank you so very much, Kevin, for letting us know what's up. But now it's time to get it started. It is Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays. Let's go. Hey everyone, it's another edition of Interludes Extra Presents Talk on Tuesdays. Man, oh man, it is wow. I'm excited for what has happened going forward. I'm just saying, it's me and Coach Tony. He is wrapping up some things and on his way in. I see some folks are in the buildings. Blessings to you, fam. What's up, Mr. Fox? One of our announcers for the Interludes podcast, the audio side. Thank you so very much for that, Mr. Springer, and letting us know what's going on. Oh my goodness. Well, you know what? I want to let you all know, what have I been doing? I've been real busy. Busy doing what? Writing a book. I've been writing a book and I'm all excited about it. It's called A DJ Saved My Life. Our ebook campaign kicks off, and Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays tonight is sponsored by A DJ Saved My Life. It is the new ebook from yours truly, Val the Voice Johnson. And of course, I'm excited that you guys are going to be going to doing your thing. You see the QR code, go ahead and get some information about the ebook. And of course, it gets released on March 5th. I am so excited about it. So all of the savvy people, you guys can go ahead and scan the QR code. But of course, I'm going to ask Mr. Springer to place it in the chat. A DJ Saved My Life is my personal story about how podcasting and virtual DJing saved my life during one of the most weird times in America, and that would be the pandemic. I'm sorry, not America, global, the pandemic. So A DJ Saved My Life, that is the ebook that's coming out. And guys, I'd love for you guys to pick up a copy, and it'll be ready for you on March 5th. And of course, if you're a part of the Interludes Patreon, join us over there. We have a great community. It's patreon.com/interludes. Kind of seeing some behind the scenes and stuff like that happens there. So thank you so very much. Man, oh man, I'm just excited. You know what? Coach is not here. I want to talk about the sports thing, but here's the thing. I actually mainly want to talk about the halftime show. But I am going to go ahead and let you guys know about, I didn't know that there hadn't been a team that hadn't won, had gone into overtime. Like, this was a rare thing for a Super Bowl to go into overtime. It's only happened once before. You guys can help me out, and definitely Coach would know. But I was watching it. I was in the fourth quarter, and I was thinking, the first half of the quarter, things were going in a direction for San Francisco. That's what I was doing. I meant to go ahead and play the video from last week where I kind of predicted that the Chiefs were going to win. Now, here's the thing. I didn't bet. There was a lot of people who did their betting on it. So I didn't bet on it at all. I just was like, well, let me see who's going to win. Let's just make sure that, we cheer everybody on. I didn't know. But the Chiefs did win the 58th Super Bowl. And of course, we're going to walk this back because Coach is definitely going to want to talk about it more in detail. And so I'm sitting here going, man, oh man. But what I was excited about was the halftime performance and, of course, the commercials. That's what I was excited about. But congratulations to the entire team of the Kansas City Chiefs. This is their second year winning. So this is a back-to-back thing. I think the only team that's won back-to-back championships has been the Patriots. So I'm not in Boston. I wouldn't know that. But congratulations to everyone who won. And my goodness, that is what I was excited about. And like I said, I just predicted it. San Francisco, it's been a long time since they won. And I know a lot of folks were rooting for San Francisco as well. But for me, I didn't have a pony in the race. I was just thinking about, hey, they won last year. And then there was a lot of good things that were happening. You had Taylor Swift in the stands, who flew in from her overseas concert, wrapping it up. So she's cheering on her man. So there's a lot happening. And I guess that was what was exciting. Here's the thing. Did you guys bet on the Super Bowl? I know I didn't. Did you all predict the right winner? I'm just curious. Throw it in the chat if you said the Chiefs were going to win and it ended up happening. Now, if you were rooting for San Francisco, this is a no judgment zone. This is a no judgment zone. If you didn't root for if you didn't root for the Kansas City Chiefs, it's okay. But a lot of magical things was happening in that third and fourth quarter, and you just didn't know how things were going to turn out. That's why the game went into overtime. I was over the moon when I saw these things turn around. And so thank you so very much for saying that, Mr. Springer. Congratulations to the Kansas City Chiefs. And thank you so much for that, Queen Lakeisha. And greetings to everyone, of course. And of course, major kudos to Queen April. She says she predicted the right winner as well. But she does like the 49ers, and that totally makes sense. So, like I said, I didn't have a pony in the race. I didn't know. But yes. And thank you so very much for that again, Queen April. The book that's coming out, wow, I'm excited about it. But I want to get to the commercials. Did you guys check out the commercials that happened? Oh my goodness. There were a lot. There were a lot of ones. And I think the one that got the most, I want to say, positive feedback was the State Farm one. I can't believe it was the State Farm one, Arnold Schwarzenegger. Well, I know here's the thing. Beyonce also did a commercial with Verizon. I checked that out and I was like, okay. And what she ended up doing was dropping a country album. Oh my goodness. So I think this was fun. Now there was a little controversy that was happening regarding Beyonce dropping new music and then kind of going against the grain regarding Usher. And here's the thing. I don't know if you guys realize it. Beyonce's husband, that would be Jay-Z, Sean Carter. He's the one that's over Live Nation, and he's the one that is responsible for picking the folks that are going to perform. And he personally called Usher to let him know that he was going to be winning. So would anyone have an issue with the wife of the person that hired you to drop new music on the same day? Because a lot of people were saying that it was eclipsing what Usher did. And I think that is so not what happened. Beyonce has her own audience along with Usher. Everyone has their own audience. And I feel like there's enough lion's share for everything. So did you all like her commercial? I thought her commercial was interesting. And everyone, The 30-second commercials cost a whopping $7 million per 30 seconds. You heard me correctly. Oh my goodness. And thank you so very much for that, Queen April. She says the commercials were great. And thank you for this Fox, Mr. Fox. Thank you so much for doing that. 8 teams have won back-to-back. But this is the first time in 20 years there was a back-to-back winners. Thank you so very much for that fact. I didn't know. I just knew who had won back-to-back. That when I was tracking it was the Patriots, and that was back in the early 2000s. But that's good to know that there were 8 teams that won back-to-back. It's never been the Bears, but it's okay. I'm not bitter. We won in the 80s and we've gone to the Super Bowl, but it's all good like that. But yes, so Beyonce is a trendsetter. Oh my gosh, that is so true. And of course, she's getting into country music. Now, here's the thing. Do you guys think with her touching into country music, is she going after the Swifties? Is she going after the country music people that love Taylor? I don't think so. I think people that love Beyonce are just going to follow whatever she does. And if it's country, she's from Texas. So some of that tracks, they're going to love and follow her. So yeah, thank you so very much for placing this in the chat. Did anyone like the Beyonce commercial? You guys could do a thumbs up, a thumbs down, or like, I didn't really care about it. But there are a couple of commercials that tracked very well for me. And because they're commercials, I know I won't have an issue with playing them. So this is the one that I thought was hilarious. And that was a Dunkin' Donuts commercial with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. Let me see if I can go ahead and play this actual one. This is too funny. And the look on J-Lo's face is priceless. But guys, check out this one. I thought this was the best one. Here we go.
I don't think you should do this. Last year she came to my work. Now I gotta show her what I can do.
He's here.
Affleck on the track.
What up, Bronx? For your consideration, here comes the Boston Massacre. The Dunk Kings. Touchdown Tommy on them keys. Player coach.
Got it.
I'm open. And needs no introduction, my partner.
Sometimes it's really hard to be your friend.
You said you were gonna support me.
Don't go away, my heart. Why you dumping me, girl? Why you dumping me? My heart.
How do you like them donuts? I'm so sorry.
You had to see it, but I forgive you. Lay us on the track.
Are we going to be on the album?
We talked about this.
Let's go. You're blinded by them pinstripes.
Wrap it up.
There goes Babe Ruth.
Tom, you can stay.
You remember when I told you I'd do anything for you? This is anything.
Chill. They're naming a drink after us.
Guys, you see the track suits that both Matt Damon and Ben Affleck had on? I found out from a report that Dunkin' Donuts sold those track suits. They went on sale at 12 noon today. They sold out in 19 minutes. So people want to walk around with Dunkin' Donuts, and I guess the orange and pink colors just kind of go for that. And thank you so very much. Yes, that commercial was hilarious. I loved it. And to me, for tracking the best, one of the best commercials for me was that one. Because number one, I'm already a fan of Dunkin' Donuts any old way. I love their hazelnut coffee. But to see Matt Damon, you had everybody. You had Matt Damon, you had Ben Affleck, you had Fat Joe kind of peeked in. He didn't even say anything. I was just cracking up. And yes, tracksuit fever, April. Oh my gosh, tracksuit fever. I mean, it sold out in 19 minutes. It went on sale on Dunkin' Donuts website and it sold out in 19 minutes. Absolutely hilarious. Oh my gosh. I was just totally cracking up. Well, the other commercial that did very well was the Arnold Schwarzenegger one. Oh my gosh. You guys let me know what you all think about that. And Kevin says he's craving some Dunkin' Donuts right now. You guys are too funny. Here's the next one that I thought did very, very well.
Thank you, Agent State Farm.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut. Hey, Arnold, I'm hearing neighbor. It's neighbor.
That's what I said. Neighbor.
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 Let's go again.
Like a good neighbor, State Farm is there.
Cut.
Now what?
Neighbor.
Yeah, neighbor. Just like it's written on the paper. Neighbor! That was the sheep. And you know it. Neighbor.
Still no.
Neighbor.
Neighbor.
Bah.
Bar.
Bah! This lady's in labor.
Cut. Arnold, got a bit of a script change. You'll love this.
Thank you, Agent State Farm.
Like a good
neighbor, State Farm is there.
You are a backstabber.
I am a backstabber.
So a lot of people were really vibing with the fact that this united Danny DeVito and Arnold Schwarzenegger. You guys remember they were in a film called Twins back in the late 80s, early 90s. And yeah, thank you so much, Janelle. You said it was one of the best commercials of the night. Oh my gosh. Bah. Nay, bah. Thank you, Mr. Fox. It was just hilarious to me. And just being a fan of Arnold Schwarzenegger and just kind of, they had been kind of previewing the Agent State Farm, this commercial, like 3 or 4 weeks out from the Super Bowl. So then they dropped the full commercial during the time, and I was thinking, this did not disappoint. This was so much fun. And so Janelle says, oh, that was cute. Good to see you, CM. And yeah, I'm just saying, this was so funny to hear him just mispronounce. It's supposed to be neighbor. Neighbor. State Farm is there. Neighbor. My favorite, and this was also a favorite of Coach Tony. He loved this particular commercial. And I said, well, you know what? Let me make sure I can find it. And it speaks directly to just the NFL and representation. What representation matters no matter where it is. In overseas, football is considered soccer. But hey, it is what it is. So I totally get that. I'm going to bring Coach on in a moment, but we're going to go and we're going to play this one. You guys are going to love this one. Oh my gosh. And it is, yeah, let me go ahead and play it for you guys. Here we go.
His name is Quincy. The crowd goes wild.
Hey, Quincy, your son's fantasies are going to destroy my house.
Spin move. Quincy, take the snap. Hike. Here comes Fred Warner.
I'm open.
He got Jefferson.
Hit the gritty?
Nah, hit the Quincy.
Where is that ball going?
Nobody was little number. Oh no!
Bring it, little man.
Cam Jordan.
I see them all, Quincy.
Quincy's in trouble. He pitches into Saquon. No! My ball!
That's on you, bro. Besides, I'm not even real.
Oh man.
Is this your ball? What's your name?
Quincy.
Quincy. I'm OC. I know that look. I know that dream.
Oh.
I had the same one. See, Quincy, doesn't have to be a dream anymore. Doesn't matter where you're born, as long as you're born to play.
Just making sure you were real.
So that was Coach Tony's favorite, and Coach, he's here, all suited up and booted up. How you doing, sir?
Man, fresh off the sideline. Just want to see that. You know, I told you I'm better than Tom Joyner, the fly jock, right? Man, fresh off the sideline, still got the tie going. So you got to forgive me with the scraggly voice. Now I've been screaming at people. So.
Oh, wow. So we were talking Super Bowl commercials, and I wanted to make sure that I included the one that you liked. I already did the Dunkin' Donuts one and the like a good neighbor.
Oh, I love the one that you just played. And the reason why I love that one, it kind of was a threefold. It was a push on a young kid, you know, in a country like Africa where we know soccer is king. The second thing is you got an opportunity to see this kid run through a village, not a neighborhood, right? Like a Chicago, New York or something, is a village. And the people out there selling their goods and doing things almost kind of remind me back in the day going to the swap meet on 111th Street. But
oh my gosh. Hey, people are complimenting you here. Queen April saying, hey, Coach Tony looking good. I see you. And of course,
boy, thank you, baby. Thank you.
And Mr. Springer is like, let's go, Coach Tony in the tie.
Man, hey, you see, I clean up very well.
Yes.
So, and then the other part of that is that the sentimental side of that, Val, to see this kid, because when we think about a professional, right, especially an athlete, it all starts with what? A dream. So, like you, myself, whomever, whether it be a DJ or it was an athlete or whomever, you sit there and you contemplate in your mind. Plenty of times in the backyard, playing ball by myself, shooting the ball and counting the clock down, 3, 2, 1, trying to hit a last second jump shot and feeling that feeling. And then you go on to become that basketball player that you once dreamed about. And then if God is able to bless you to enter the largest stage of them all to become a professional, that commercial is great. And then what the underlying message is, but a lot of people may have not gotten, and we learned that from last night on the Pull Up podcast with my guy Blaine Bishop, is that the NFL has now kind of done what the NBA has done, Val, and they've gone international. And if you notice, every year when the NFL opens the season, what do you see? A game in Amsterdam, a game in London. There's always a game overseas before they play here in the States.
Yeah, so that's mainly important. I think just kind of putting it out there that you know, football is not just here in America. I actually texted someone that lives over in Trinidad, and she sent me a message back and said, Val, I didn't watch the Super Bowl, but I have to remind myself that the Super Bowl is a big deal here in this country, but sometimes it doesn't track in other countries. But what I will say, and this was a little research that I did, Coach, did you know, according to abcnews.go.com, this was the most watched program in U.S. television history, according to Nielsen and the Adobe analysis. Why am I not pronouncing that? Kansas City 25-22 overtime victory over San Francisco on Sunday night averaged 123.4 million viewers across television and streaming platforms. And the game was televised on CBS, as you know, but also on Nickelodeon and Univision, and streamed on Paramount Plus, as well as the NFL digital platforms. And Nielsen also said that it had a record of 202.4 million that watched at least part of the game across all networks, and it was a 10% jump over last year's figure of 183.6 million. Why were more people watching? Why do you think so?
Well, two things here. One, you just mentioned them, the platforms, right?
Okay,
so you've got the digital platforms, you got the social platforms, you got the everything streaming on YouTube and all these multiple platforms that these people are buying, and they're no longer members of the cable business anymore, right? They're not with Dish Network or DirecTV and so forth and so on. The other thing is that it was the rematch of San Fran and KC, and then you added the Swiftie Nation, and you added millions of people that wanted to see, because they had bets in Vegas, a live bet that you can bet, Val, with your own, as we say, for promotional purposes only, you get bet that they were taking odds if she was going to physically make it from Japan, from the concert to the football game. And so a lot of the people, I think, were watching just because of that. Now, if Taylor Swift is not dating Kelsey, it's probably still a big game to watch, but you probably wouldn't got the same feel.
Yeah. So I think Taylor Swift attracted a lot more folks to Super Bowl than before. And then, of course, having that opportunity to be able to, just kind of bask and glow, because the cameras were on her box always. Yes. We're always cutting to her, looking at her reaction. She was kind of doing some nail biting, probably happening in the third and the fourth quarter, because that numbers kept going back and forth. But sure. I want to definitely ask you about, and I'm trying to get to it right now, that
but nobody even asked about Ice Spice. She was sitting up in a box too.
Yeah, and she looked confused. They kept saying that she looks like she didn't know what was happening, so she was looking a little confused.
Hey,
but
she was like, just part of the Swifties. Eat, drink, and be merry.
That's what I'm talking about, and they were probably really enjoying that too. But I have to say, I'm trying to get to the picture where it was kind of there we go. So Taylor Swift, it's just, I think she brought so many new people to watch Super Bowl that probably had never watched a Super Bowl game ever, because they were watching to either see her and see how they were doing. And they were out, according to Entertainment Tonight, out until like the wee hours of 5 o'clock in the morning, just, going to parties, stuff like that, celebrating.
You got to figure that, and you got to figure the other piece was, you and I talked about it a couple of shows before, when Kelsey and her got together, then it was this big hoopla that the women who knew nothing about football, and at least you knew something about football, but the ones who knew nothing about football thought that Taylor Swift was physically teaching them about the game. I'm like, are you insane? They didn't even know that Travis Kelce was a superstar by himself and worth $100-something million. He ain't worth $1 billion, but if he ain't with her, he gonna be okay. You know what I'm saying? And they didn't understand that piece. And then when they found out that he was now dating Taylor Swift, his football jersey went to #1 overnight. Remember? And on his Twitter grew by like 1 million in like 2 days. Crazy.
Yeah, because that was all of the folks that love and followed Taylor. They follow him now. And here's the thing: in a week, you had the Grammys at the beginning of the week, and at the next week you had the Super Bowl. She won 3 or 4 Grammys, and he ended up winning the Super Bowl. So they asked him, I think afterwards, like, how does this feel? He says, hey, it feels great. We're going to go and party. And
that's what they did. And if you look at it, add one more thing in there. From Sunday to Sunday, at the Grammy, wins the award, takes one that no one's done before, charters a jet and goes out to another country 12 hours away, performs a concert. And I heard she knocked that out the box. It was overcrowded. And then flies back to Vegas and picks up another ring or another piece of metal, right? Because, for whatever reason, Val, you and I won't get one, and I don't know if anyone else will do it, but they're going to make Taylor Swift a Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, that would make sense. And like I said, her popularity, I think, has helped the NFL. And like I said, this was the most watched Super Bowl in television history. Now, one of the things I think that also mainly contributed to this being the most watched was this gentleman right here.
Usher. We talked about Usher.
Usher.
True feeling for real. Yeah.
So what did you think of the halftime show? I would love to get your thoughts on it. I have my own, but what did you think?
Well, you know what I'm about to say, that the best part of the halftime show was seeing them brothers from Kappa Alpha Psi, Phi Nu Pi, stepping with my big step with them canes. Hey, I told him, if you're going to have the biggest stage, who you going to bring with you? You ain't bringing nobody. You're going to bring them nukes, them pretty nukes. And that's what he did. He brought them pretty boys. But I love the Alicia Keys. I thought that one, she looked absolutely smashing and phenomenal. And I thought
this is Dolce and Gabbana that she's wearing. I didn't know someone. I heard that.
I don't know if that Dolce, Gabbana, whatever. I know she making it rock. So, and it was Usher was like, he was all over. Hey man, I'm sorry, Swift Beat. My bad.
Oh, and speaking of which, I love also just kind of the staging. The staging of his performance was just beautiful. And then of course he pointed over and then you saw this beautiful cape blowing and her playing at the piano.
Yes.
And then he kind of comes over and meets with her. And this is a very funky looking piano, which I'm thinking, oh, okay, that's interesting. But Swiss Beats, a lot of people were fussing like, oh my gosh, you had Usher rubbing up all on Alicia. And then of course he tweeted this out. Y'all talking about the wrong darn thing. Y'all don't see this amazing dress covering the entire stadium. Tonight's performance was nothing but amazing with two amazing giants. Congrats to Usher and my love, Alicia Keys. That song is a classic. We don't do negative vibes on this side. We make history. Go see Giants, and this side we make history. Go see Giants. And so he mentioned the Brooklyn Museum, and it's open until July. So he was on promotion purposes only. Like, look, we're gonna promote it. So he was not bothered at all. He was like, hey.
At the end of the day, let me ask you a question. I'm gonna ask you a rhetorical question on that.
Okay.
When Beyonce go out and her dancers are dance with him, do you think Jay-Z is bothered?
It depends on who it is. Because I feel like he may not really be checking, but then again, I think it might be. It depends. But here's the thing: they've been together, over a decade. So I don't necessarily know.
Right, Jay, trust me, Jay in the house with the babies. He ain't worried about none of that. And the same thing with Alicia Keys. Her Swiss Beats going on 20 almost. So it's crazy. And two kids. Like I love how Swiss came back. You don't say nothing if the young lady was an actress and she was in a lovemaking scene with no clothes on, like Lala Anthony, right? And BMF, right? We don't say nothing about that because why? Because it's TV. Why was she bucket naked? But here it is that you got a beautiful singer in Alicia Keys, my girl, and instead of blessing this show, like her husband said, like you are here trying to find something wrong, and these two people have been making history, music history, and you know what? This gonna help my woman probably get back out on the stage and go do another tour, and you're gonna be the same person talking about it, gonna go buy tickets. So
exactly.
Man, I hate when we do we like that. You know what I mean?
I don't like it either. And here's the thing. Both of them have been voice coaches and have been on The Voice. And they've had their teams win. So number one, and both of them are musicians. Like Usher plays instruments, and of course Alicia the piano. And she writes a lot of her own stuff. Janelle said out of Brooklyn, she said, Swiss said that because Alicia's voice cracked a little bit and fans seem bothered by that, it is silly. I heard her crack, but I was thinking that's high. The song was high, and she did her own song. And so I was thinking she was probably a little nervous, maybe not a lot, maybe a little nervous. And then it's called you're just starting out, like he literally pointed the finger and said, hey, we're camera people, follow my finger, and it's gonna go over to her. And so I don't know.
Yeah, so it's a switching. It's like I DJ live shows and so have you, Val, where you got one DJ is doing something, they point at the DJ, and I take over, and sometimes the switching from one side to the next, it crackles a little bit or whatever that may be. And also the last point on that, and Springer just pointed out, I was going to say a minute ago, if it was such a problem, why the hell did Usher get married right after the Super Bowl? You know what I'm saying? Come on now. People, you're doing too much. That's what you're doing. You're doing too much.
And here's the thing, and this was great. Thank you so very much, Mr. Springer, for putting this up. Usher, while in Vegas, got married to his longtime girlfriend, Jennifer and she is a music exec. And so they got married over the weekend. So congratulations to Usher and Jennifer. And I'm going, okay, that works. So what we're looking at now, this is her performing the national anthem when she was about 9 or 10 years old, 10 years young.
Get out of here.
And that was the San Francisco 49ers.
Really?
Yeah, she posted this on her Twitter earlier today, but this was her on this past Sunday. I felt like
rock that guitar. Oh my God!
Touched her shoulder and she rocked it out. My gosh,
hey, that was probably one of the best things from a female performer that I've seen probably since Sheila E.
I like that. I like how you pointed that. Yeah. This was one of the guests that and I really appreciate it. And here's the thing. I talked to a few folks and they were like, well, how come, Usher didn't perform any of his newer music, and how come he's got something new out with her? How come they didn't perform that? Well, that song hasn't gained traction. It's from the Color Purple soundtrack. And here's the thing, because he recently worked with her, he was like, why don't you do the guitar on this? And I don't know if you all noticed, Usher ran away from her so quickly. They kind of came together for a little bit. He was like, okay, she's doing her thing. She's got these big moon boots on and she's rocking the guitar. And then before we realize it, after him and her kind of touched back to back, he switched out of there so quickly and got into a new outfit. I was
they got the roller skates. He put them roller skates on. I was loving it.
Put the roller skates on.
I think more important for that, Val, I don't think it was that. I think it was like Alicia Keys' point when he pointed to Alicia Keys. I know this is my show, but this is my opportunity to put a couple folks on, right?
Right.
No different than if I was at a comedy show and I know you're up and coming comic, and then you bust out and you had about 2 or 3 lines spit. I'm gonna let you say what you're gonna say, get the crowd laughing for a minute, see if they like you or if they don't like you. So I think that with her coming out, and it was part of the song, and she was jamming that song, and then the music stopped, and they let her go on a solo, and then they came right back with the band. That was ridiculous.
Yeah. And here's the thing. I have to make sure that I mention. Every performer, and we have Michael Jackson to thank for this. Every performer gets 13 minutes. So he's jamming 30 years worth of music into 13 minutes. So a lot of
stressed it to 15. Did you hear about that?
What happened?
Did he stress it to 15? Did you hear about that?
I did not hear about that. When I actually looked at it on a separate, and I think Apple Music has it presented, it's a little bit over 13 minutes, but not 15. I didn't catch the 15 part.
Well, what he did, he said that was people didn't catch. Exactly right. He ran a commercial in the front and a commercial in the end. So if he said if you count in the commercials plus the performance, he had a minute 30 commercial in the front and in the back. He got it 15 to become the first performer to stretch the 12 or the 13 to 15 minutes because of the way he did the commercials.
Right.
And that was, he ran the Apple commercial in front and then the Apple commercial in the back.
Because Apple was the official sponsor for the halftime performance. They took over.
And I love when he did that. Only thing I ain't like about that, he brought the clock. It's 7 o'clock on the dot.
Yeah.
Me my top, and then he just went away with it and came. I was like, man, go on and break it down, boy.
Yeah, he didn't have time.
Waiting on me.
He didn't have time to break it down. But I one of the reasons why I captured this particular one, and then of course the one that was previous, because I think he did Let It Burn for that one. I love how the stage production reflected his music. Like and I think it was important for that because it was going to be a hit it and quit it. I'm only going to do a couple of, not even a full verse, and then go right to the next song because I'm trying to jam in 30 years worth of singles and everything. Thank you so much, Mark. We see you. Of course. Now, here's the thing I was wondering about. Jermaine Dupri. A lot of people was criticizing his clothes. And his short pants. I didn't get a picture of that, but I was thinking, okay.
my boy that played golf, he said my boys that play golf with me said, when did we start coming to a Super Bowl game in front of everybody with our kids' clothes on? If you remember that episode with Spanky and Alfalfa them, when Spanky was looking like that.
I mean, you are a producer, and he came out on one of the songs that he is known for, Confession. So while they were roller skating, so I'm sitting there going, why are you wearing that? But I'm like, you know what? They had the camera on him very briefly. I did not capture Will I Am. I did not know that was Will I Am because he had his face completely covered. But,
yes.
But the great thing was and Mark is funny. I wonder if Tony and Val could roller skate like Usher did. Absolutely not.
Absolutely. I can. I get down like that, Mark. I can. Yeah. I get down with I still do the crazy leg. I can skate backwards. All that. Matter of fact, Val, here in Nashville a few years ago, my son, that was a hot thing to do again for whatever reason. It became a fad to get back to the skating rink, and they thought I was gonna go out there and let it burn. I went out there and straight up get, and as they say, get down with the get down.
So unfortunately, I fell really hard when roller skating when I was either 8 or 9 years old. I got back on roller skates as a teenager and fell again. I have not been back on roller skates since the 90s. So I'm good. We good. I'm good. So
hey, Mark, if you have a skating party, put me on the invite. I'm definitely there.
Luda and Little John, they came out.
Yeah.
And did and I literally predicted that he was going to close with I literally predicted he was going to go ahead and close with and he did. And so this was
when Lil Jon stepped up and started shouting with the crowd, and that I knew it. He needed to be in somebody's hand because he's so short. They would have lost him in the crowd.
But did you know that Little John had a 10-year residency as a DJ in Vegas? I didn't know that.
I didn't know that. You and I were talking about that the other night. I knew he was in Vegas DJing. The only part I didn't like about the song, some of the verses I couldn't understand what Luda said. Even though I knew the record, I really couldn't hear Luda really clearly, when he was singing that song.
And the other thing is that they had stripper poles up there.
Right.
But they weren't really, dress stripper like. So it was I was like, okay, so they kind of toned that down. But I noticed toward the end of the performance, he was like, I turned peace up, A-Town down, but he kept saying I turned the world into the A or something like
right.
And I love the marching band. Oh my gosh, let me not forget that.
Come on, I told you the marching band. Come on, man. Come on, Jay was on it. They was born. Hey,
so that was really, really phenomenal and stuff like that. And so of course and there's Luda there with the big afro. So that's cracking me up with that. But the commercial, yes. So you have Beyonce releasing a country album. One of her singles is called 16 Carriages. And of course, past, present, future, Usher is now going to be going on tour on the American North American tour of past, present, future. Yeah. So
again, this goes back to what you and I were talking about, and Mark and these guys, April and you guys, and anyone tonight. Again, you listen to the sounds of Coach Tony and my girl Val, the voice of Interludes Talk on Tuesday. Continue to like the show, share it, and make sure you subscribe, because our numbers are coming up, because the show is doing phenomenal things, phenomenal guests. This is as we come down to the back end of the show here. Val and I was talking last night on the Pull Up Podcast show. If you guys were not tuned in on me on Monday nights, 8 p.m. Central, the Pull Up Podcast show, and I got a lot of fabulous guests over there. So make sure you check that out. But we were discussing, and I want to hear you guys' opinion. And Kevin, you can please put it in the line. It was Usher's night. We know that it was Usher's night. And the way that somebody brought it to me, I was talking to Val about it, is equivalent to a young lady getting married. And somebody shows up at the wedding wearing a red dress. That's like, pow, red dress. Not just a red dress, but a pow, red dress. is it right because the attention now is no longer on the bride, it's on the person in the red dress. So the question is, even though this was Usher's night, was it fair for Beyonce to drop she has a new album coming in that context? And I told Val, my opinion was, yes, it was okay because one, Usher, first of all, was invited to do the show by Beyonce's husband, was Jay-Z. And that probably was already worked out at some point. I told Val last night that the conversation probably went like, hey, look, you my guy, you're going to do the show, knock it out the box, kill it, do whatever you want. But check this out. The Beehive is dropping information about a new album. She's not going to take anything away from the show, probably do it at the end or the beginning, whatever. And Usher was probably like, man, that's all love, fam. It's like a little sister. Let's go ahead. Because he stated that while Beyonce and the girls at Destiny's Child was trying to become a mega group, he sometimes babysat them or watched them. So it ain't like he just now getting to know Beyonce. He's been knowing Beyonce for years. So again, I think that's messy being messy.
Thank you, Alejandro. Good to see you as well. And thank you for putting that in the chat. I mentioned it earlier before you came on. And so that's a great question. Even though it was Usher's night, was it right for Beyonce to announce her country album, to do a drop? Because there were a lot of people, there were some folks that had issues with her dropping her album. And because she did it in conjunction with Verizon. She even had a sponsor. But think about it. Every commercial, and I'll say it again, every commercial was $7 million for 30 seconds.
So you think that if I give you $7 million, I'm about to tell you, I'm about to fly to the moon. I'm telling you, $7 million, I'm like, look, check out me and Val on Interludes. I got the pull up, I got the rise. I'm about to lay it all out. $7 million, because again, you got and the crazy part about it though, and I don't know if you played it earlier though, I told you as well, that was my second commercial. I love the Beyonce commercial. I thought it was funny because it was, for me, spending so much time in the cellular industry, that was one of the things that I know people that don't know outside the industry is when we used to launch a phone or you launch a telephone,
right?
What they do is 4 to 6 months of launching that phone. For the outside people that get those iPhones or Samsungs, they do what they call drive tests, sound tests, and breakable tests. They try to put so much stress on those phones to see what's going to make them crack or break. They want to know, am I sitting in a concert in front of a loudspeaker? Is that going to make it crack? They want to know if you're driving down the highway with wind coming into your phone, is that going to? So to see her, it was so cool to do. I'm going to the moon. I'm going to be the first person to perform on the moon. That was dope. And then she talks to my man. Did that crack it? No, that didn't crack it. So it was a win-win for both parties. She was able to announce it. Verizon got the love, and it was a Beehive. Plus, Taylor Swift, they didn't say nothing about her at the freaking Grammys, talking about, oh, I forgot to tell you guys, I got a new album I've been hiding from you, and I'm dropping it in May. Didn't nobody say nothing about that. None.
So all I'm saying is that I don't think, and you guys could let us know in the chat if that was, if you thought that was something was off with Beyonce releasing an album at the same time that Usher was doing the halftime show, and then of course promoting his new album, and those things. I'm actually on his Twitter right now. He posted a video of him and Beyonce and Usher. I mean, he's Usher, Beyonce, Jay-Z, and himself. And so I was thinking, I wonder why he posted that, because I think he knew people were gonna probably have something to say regarding that. And here's the thing. He was interviewed with who was this? Gayle King on CBS Morning, and he had mentioned how that was a wonderful interview. He mentioned how many Grammys he won, but he had never been able to the awards that he won for the Grammys were never a televised category. So he's never been able to walk in front of his fans and say thank you, you know, and it'd be televised. Because keep in mind, there are well over 70 categories for the Grammys, and a lot of that is not televised. However, this year, I think just about everything was televised, but it just was televised on the YouTube channel. And then of course, on CBS, that was else. But I didn't know that. I didn't know that Usher won and had his categories were never televised. And she stopped him. She's like, what?
Right. Yeah, because she was shocked. And for what you just read to me on that Twitter, you know what I think about that?
What?
Do you remember 8 Mile with Eminem?
I do remember that.
Okay,
Yes, I
so
sure do. Yeah.
Do you remember the part where he is battling him and be rapping and all them boys is in the club and he spit that song, which is 8 Mile Home, which actually went on the album 8 Mile Run. And he talked about how his mama lived in a trailer. He grew up and his homeboy was Uncle Tom, and he did a lot of that. And my boy slept with my mom and all that. And then he says he'll take the microphone and tell them something that they don't already know. And he dropped the mic. And my man sit there and looked at him because he had nothing to say. That's what Usher just did. He got out in front of him. Let me go ahead and get Jack. Let me go ahead and get Swiss Beats. Let me go ahead and get Alicia Keys. And then let me go ahead and get Beyonce. So all 4 of those folks can spit what they need to say about their significant other and me. And so now it doesn't matter what Lil Johnny had to say out here in South Dakota, right? Or Sinead they have to say over here in DC. I don't care. Because if I drop something, you're still going to buy it or you're going to come to the concert.
Right. And so his promotion team is on top of it. This is the cover of his new CD. It's out now. It came out on 2 days. It came out on Friday, the 9th. And
I just got to get my back right there. That's all. I'm working on stuff. Hey, let me start taking. Let me go and show and take it off.
Keep your jacket on now. This is not that type of show. It is not that type of show. Lord have mercy. Let me take this off.
We about to let it burn, man. We about to let it burn.
But all I'm saying is that it's marketing genius. And because everyone is kind of working, you know, what they doing together. And like I said, Jay-Z called Usher to let him know, hey, it's your time. He was still doing his residency in Vegas. So it
he
made
said that's
sense.
what made him accept the offer because he was already in Vegas, had done Vegas. He had already proven himself that he could do a 1-hour show in Vegas. And not only that, he had already started over that year to build up a fan base. So worst case scenario. Now, here's something that part 2 of my question. And that is, you listen to Taylor Swift, right?
Okay. Yeah.
As a young kid, she was what? A country singer.
Of course, she was a country singer. So that's how
So
she started
launched
out.
that career, and the country fans went berserk. She then comes back off that second album, as you and I were talking about, and then she says, let me cross over in this next album. I'm going to go pop. And then she grabbed the pop audience. Then that third album, she said, I'm going to try a couple of rappers in here, put some rappers on my song, and it still was a hit. And then she moves to London, hooks up with Ed Sheeran and a couple other folks, and then says, let me try my luck at R&B and drop a couple of R&B stuff and put some R&B artists on my album, and it blew up. Now, the question is, can Beyonce do that in reverse? Because we, Black folks, we different because we don't like everything. And so the Swifties started out in that country category and had to grow. But she grew with an audience that was going to grow with her because that was the mainstream music. Now you got the Beehive who's trying to throw a boomerang and say, okay, if Taylor can do it in reverse, I think I can go drop a country album because I'm out of Houston, I'm representing Texas, and let me see what I can make this done. So we're about to see.
Yeah. And like I said, this is a new genre for Beyonce. And here's the thing. Country music is not my lane. There's certain country artists that I like, and there's certain sounds and music. one person most notably that did very well on the charts, Ray Charles. Georgia was considered country music.
Georgia?
Didn't know that. Didn't
Yeah, I
know that.
know that.
Yeah, I didn't know that, but that's a great question. And Mark wanted to know, did we see or like the Mr. T commercial or the one with Arnold? I actually liked both of them. I did see I Pity the Fool, and it was good to see. It was good to see.
It's good to see Southside back out there still making money. You know what I'm saying? And Mr. T. And I'm gonna tell you, Val, I actually dig some country. And we've had my nephew on. We've had my nephew on, and I'm gonna make a promise to you. We're working in a collaboration with a country guy, and I think we got a radio hit. And the moment that they finish the collabo, and the moment that is set, I'm gonna release it on the show. We're gonna come on Interludes. We're gonna play the whole song in its entirety, and I'm gonna let the audience listen to it, and maybe even have Reek back on that night and talk about the process, because it's been a process. We've actually been working on this collabo since he's been on the show. To go to show you how long this process is, and it has been a phenomenal ride. But I think we got a hit, and this is our first stab at working with a country artist.
Wow, that's amazing. Now, I'm just now looking up some stats. Beyonce's in the top 10 on the country charts right now.
With that song?
With that song, 16 Carriages. And then Usher's album is in the top 10 for R&B on Apple, according to Apple Music. So
now you got to look at this in two ways, Val, right? To the left with Usher. He just come out the Super Bowl.
Okay.
Phenomenal. And we know what he's done. And like he said the other day in his interview with Gail, he's dropped some classics, right? Some classics. I don't care how you look at it. Every one of his albums has had a classic hit, at least one, right? So the people know Usher. They're going to continue to buy Usher. Beyonce, me personally, this is my opinion, I think the numbers are being pushed and she's where she is because of curiosity. And I think the people in the Beehive are saying, okay, let me listen to this. So because of that, it pushed those numbers up that distance. I think the telltale sign is going to be what now the people think about the song to see if the next one she drops off the album will get the same type of review.
Right, exactly. So, and April says that, Beyonce will do great as a country artist. Trust and know that Taylor and Beyonce talk. I totally get that. And April says that she loves country music. And so that's interesting. All right, Coach Tony, bring it. But I'm going to do this. I have to just say that of all of, I want to make sure that I talk about, I did a poll on, what was this, on Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays. And so I'm doing this from Usher's, Twitter, but I definitely wanted to just let you guys know that I polled and found out who you all thought was who was the best of the performers for Super Bowl. And of course, I listed a few. I did Michael Jackson, I did Beyonce, I listed Rihanna, I listed the Super Bowl with Dr. Dre and Snoop. And then also I listed, I believe Janelle, thank you so much, Janelle. She actually listed Coldplay and a few others. And so the winner, and I'm going to go ahead and scroll down and get to that information. But yeah, the winner of the people that,
let me hear the winner real quick.
Okay, so the winner that I see that I'm looking at right now, because I'm scrolling down to our poll, because I wanted to make sure that I did a poll to figure out exactly, who had the most. And it looks like, Michael Jackson is number 1. Prince came in at number 2.
I was about to say, you didn't mention Prince. I was about to say, I'm taking you to Judge Mathis.
That's fine. Prince came in at number 2. Eminem, Dr. Dre came in at number 3. And Beyonce came in at number 4, and then number 5 was Beyonce, Bruno Mars, and Coldplay. And so
I could possibly live with that. The only thing that I can live with that. The only thing that I would change from 1 to 2 is Michael had a phenomenal performance, but nobody. When I say nobody, I mean nobody had a situation where God blessed the stage while Prince sang Purple Rain, and it rained, and it rained, and it came down purple. That is something that you can't write in an act. That is something that you can't draw up. You could, make it look like it rained on stage, but to physically do that, I mean, come on, the God's just letting Prince know, baby, I'm crying. He's looking him up. That's my fault.
And Kevin brings up a good point here. He says, I think a new trend is happening in music. Different artists are migrating to different genres, aka we talked about Andre 3000 doing flutes, and now Beyonce in country. So that's understandable. And April says she loves Coldplay. Mark mentioned
I like Coldplay. I'm a Coldplay fan too. April, girl, we gotta sit down and talk. I like. I'm a Maroon 5 guy too. I love Maroon 5. I love Levine and them boys. I'm a big Maroon 5 fan.
Of course. And of course, Kevin, I predict this when I was in school back in the 80s, further blending of music. That's what Mark said. So, and then of course, Kevin agrees with it. He says Most Def. And then Mark Lee says, yes, Coldplay rocks. I thought they did a great job for Super Bowl. And so this is going to be fun. I don't know who's going to be performing for the next year, but I really
going down to New Orleans, and I got to say, and I love my sister to death, sitting right there in that cap of red, looking good, valid voice for promotional purpose. And I don't lose a lot. And Kevin forgot to get me April stuff to check out where she was at in the contest. And I don't lose a lot. But I put the right teams there. But, I'm glad to see what my nephew, he made history. Juwan Jennings, first player in NFL history to run and throw a pass in a Super Bowl. It was dope. But Val the Voice knocked out Coach. I had to lose my breath right there. Val the Voice. Remember Marty couldn't say he lost.
I didn't bet any money. Myself and Coach, we only joke around and we say,
so I got some food. I got some food for her. So next time I'm at home, she's, I don't want to go to the commercial place like she's trying to get me to go to freaking what was it?
Factory.
Cheesecake Factory. I can do that in Nashville.
Okay. If you don't want to do the
we're doing Rosebuds on Rush, and we're gonna do something nice. I gotta go eat some good food.
So with me predicting the Chiefs winning from last week, and like I said, I wish I had the video. I could have played it just now and you guys could have heard me kind of predict it. Coach Tony, next time he is in the Midwest in the Chi, we'll go and have some food, and it'll be on him. So I feel I'm all happy with that.
And for promotional purposes, I should have took your bet for promotional purposes because you were spot on almost. You had it 24-17. It was 25-22. So that'd have been ooh, it was good.
Oh my gosh. I tell you so. But like I said, this has been fun. Just kind of going through and like I said, I just had a blast with checking out the commercials, tracking what exactly was happening with the Super Bowl halftime, and then a thrilling fourth quarter into overtime with the Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers. Like this is back to back. And thank you so very much. Phil Fox came on and said this has happened 8 times before, but it's been a long time, over 20 years since NFL team has won back-to-back championships. It's been over 20 years.
I mean, it's and San Fran, even though they've been there, they haven't won one since Rice is been gone. So it's crazy. But again, you got to do what? Continue to support my girl Val the Voice and myself, Coach Tony, and make sure you guys pull up on me on Monday sometime, baby. Pull up on the Pull Up Podcast show. We got guests. We got a upcoming guest because this Sunday by the way, even though Val and I didn't get an opportunity to touch bases with it, this Sunday is upcoming on the All-Star game with the NBA All-Star game as well. So that's going to be pretty phenomenal, and we'll catch you up next Monday and Tuesday and kind of talk a little bit about that and what happened at the All-Star game. But put up on the Pull Up Podcast show. That's where we at.
And the Pull Up Podcast is every Monday in February and March at 8 p.m. Central, 9 p.m. Eastern, and 6 p.m. on the West Coast. And of course, guys, this episode has been brought to you by the new ebook that's coming out March 5th, A DJ Saved My Life by yours truly, Val the Voice Johnson. We're in pre-sales right now. You guys grab your cell phone, do a QR code, scan it in, get a whole breakdown of how that book is. And when you purchase, you are supporting the podcast directly. That is phenomenal. And like I said, I want to thank my writing coach, Miss Monique Lisa Johnson, for all of her help and support. And of course, we have our Patreon. If you want to join our Interludes Presents Find Your Voice, join our community on Patreon today at patreon.com/interludes. My goodness, another great episode. Thank you, in the books. Woo, Tony.
I'm glad I had to come looking clean for you tonight, Val. That worked out great.
I know. And thank you so very much, Kevin. Kevin's like, shout out to the Pull Up Podcast with Coach Tony. Thank you so very much. And then, of course, yes, thank you so much for putting that in, Kevin. A DJ saved my life. And if you guys, if the QR code is too confusing, the link is in the chat. And thank you so very much. On Pod TV, the Pull Up Podcast and Interludes Extra Talk on Tuesdays is now streaming on Pod TV. Thank you so very much for that, Mark Lee. Oh my gosh.
My man, Mark.
So we appreciate that so very much. Thank you so very much, Janelle out in Brooklyn. We love you. Appreciate that. And of course, out in Los Angeles to Brooklyn, we're here every Tuesday. And please come back and join us on next week as we prepare for some more great things. And I encourage you, happy Valentine's Day on tomorrow. If you get a chance, go check out One Love, the film by Bob Marley. I'll be reviewing that for next week's show.
One love.
Okay.
Just one love.
One love. One heart.
I'm singing Houdini.
Get together and feel all right. The Bob Marley version. You are too funny.
I'm back singing Houdini. I'm back in New York.
On behalf of myself and Coach Tony, come back and join us next week. Peace.